Yeah, I have already.
Okay, brilliant. So welcome everyone for yet another presentation. This week again, we seem to have a theme. We had the waste management and alternative ways of dealing with waste and recycling. And we had our Brazilian speaker from the university, from the Egyptian university, the Arab Academy in Alexandria. And 2 days after that, at this talk, we have our colleagues from Kazakhstan, again in the same topic of waste management. These webinars are part of Project ARC, and it is very critical for us to educate the younger generations about how waste is a critical element and waste management is a critical element for reversing negative climate change. It will be important for us to educate young people about the waste management crisis, but also to make people aware the differences between the countries that are involved in Project ARC. And of course, we have 13 countries in this partnership, and we're looking forward to find out from Kazakhstan the kind state of waste management, and of course, the future directions and how the society needs to move on to help with climate change. So without any further ado, I would really like to pass the microphone to my colleagues from Kazakhstan to introduce the speaker, of course, and the talk. At the end of the talk, we will have a couple of questions. And of course, the recording of this webinar and all the materials will be available on the Project ARC website. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George. Let me just start it. Оптимизировать для видео. Okay, hello, my name is Omar Kasenova. I'm from Kazakhstan. I work as a lecturer at Innovative University of Eurasia. Mainly, I'm teaching subjects related to chemistry and chemical technologies. And before I start, I just want to say that I'm very happy to be a part of this project. I hope that we all will learn something new and will help to raise awareness about ecology, about environment, and climate change, of course. So today's topic is evaluation of waste management system in Kazakhstan. So for today's agenda, we're going to discuss, first of all, the types of waste that we have encountering every day in our country. Also, we'll discuss some negative and positive practices and trends into waste management in our country. After that, we're going to talk a little bit about extended producer responsibility, which stands for EPR. And at the end, we're going to draw some conclusions. Well, first of all, I want to take this chance to introduce my motherland, Kazakhstan, for people who might not know a lot about that. You can see it takes a lot of space actually on the world maps, and it is not exaggerated, it is true. We have 9th biggest territory in the world. As you can see, Kazakhstan is located right in the heart of Eurasia. We have some neighbors like Russian Federation, China, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. So we used, in the past, we used to be a part of Soviet Union, but we got our independence just recently, I could say, like in 1991. So it's been only 30 years of independent life, actually. So next slide is showing some beautiful pictures from my motherland. You can see we have some really unique nature here, and here on the right you can see a picture of our capital city, Nur-Sultan. So I can add some information that Kazakhstan is really rich in mineral resources like oil and gas, uranium, copper, chromium, and other metals. So yeah, I just noticed that for some reasons on all pictures we have like a lot of snow covering the earth, but actually we have all 4 seasons here, and we have some really warm days. Okay, so let's move on to the topic. So I decided that we are going to, for the purpose of presentation, divide types of waste to two groups. So basically it's municipal solid waste, stands for MSW, and it includes all the household domestic waste from apartment blocks, from family houses, and all kinds of city organizations like legal entities and so on. The other group is waste from the energy sector. So it includes all the production waste, manufacturing waste from agriculture, from as well oil and gas extraction and refining, metallurgy, energy production, of course, and construction. So, and for separate topic, I would like to discuss advanced radioactive waste because it's kind of special, even though you can say that it's also included in the energy sector topic. It is kind of specific to this. Yes, sorry for the delay. Okay, so let's move on to first types of waste. Let's discuss some practices and trends in waste management of municipal solid waste. So according to statistics, annual generation of municipal solid waste in Kazakhstan is about 5 to 6 million tons. You could say, yeah, this figure tells nothing. It's not informative at all, and you would be right, because these figures actually depends mostly on number of population. So let's compare something. So this is the amount of municipal solid waste that a person who lives in capital city Nur Sultan generates per day. Let's compare it with some other person. For example, you could see that a person who lives in the USA, average person consumes actual throwaways like a bit more of the waste every day. Well, the reasons for that could be like different kinds of standard of living. You could say that, yeah, typical American person could buy more stuff because he could afford it and could throw away more stuff. We can draw this kind of conclusion from here. Also, we can say that according to statistics, the collection service covers around 70% of population. Why it is not 100%? The reason for that it's just my opinion, but you saw that the territory is really big and rural areas are not well developed with good infrastructure. These reasons could hinder the 100% of waste generation from all the population. So let's move to separation and sorting system in Kazakhstan. A good thing is that it has already launched in our country, so the start is given. It has started recently, maybe 5 years ago, and only in big cities right now. But there are several sorting plants in Kazakhstan. However, the problem is the output of these sorting and recycling plants are very small. This might be the reason that most of them are experiencing economic problems right now. Why it happened? First of all, most of the expectation that owner of plants had that they could make a lot of money from recycling are not materializing. This happened because the government at the start, they said that actually they are going to subsidize this project. But after economic crisis came, the subsidy was canceled. So I guess it was the main reason for that. Because of that, it led to some disruption in operations and frequent change of ownership of plants, which is always not really good stuff for economy. These operators of sorting and recycling plants, they had to increase their fees for accepting actually garbage, and these costs for delivering companies, for collection and delivering companies to just change some plants. It's easier for them just to pay less money and deliver their collected waste to landfills and dumps. So I guess that was the reason for that. So different kinds of sources say that level of—
Sorry.
Yeah.
Because I'm still online now. Can you please share with us the impact here? In other words, what do you think is different in Kazakhstan when you try to educate the public about the need of waste management? And
what is different in Kazakhstan about education, ecological education, you mean?
What were the main challenges and difficult points on how you like management? Thank you.
Yeah, I think the main reason for problems that we're having with waste management is almost zero support from government. There is not a solid program existing for future waste management, and so it's still developing. I guess, yeah, this was the reason for that. And level of recycling is different kinds of sources says different figures, but officially level of recycling in Kazakhstan around 9% right now. Of course, you cannot compare this with Japan, that has like high-tech country, that has like 90% of recycling, but I think it's a good start. As I said, we just got our independence like 30 years. You cannot compare it with other like European countries and well-developed countries, but I think it's just a good start. Okay, if you allow, I will continue. So at this slide, you can see a typical average composition of domestic waste that is coming from a person who lives in a capital city, Nur-Sultan. So mostly, if you compare this to some waste of like maybe American citizen, it's almost the same. Apart from maybe we have less food waste in general, more textile for some reason. Plastic, glass, and paper, cardboard are almost at the same rate, I could say. Why the reason why we have more textile in garbage, like around 10%, I could say maybe because donation of like old clothes are not really developed maybe in Kazakhstan. So people, it's easier for people just to throw away some used clothes than to donate it. I guess, yeah, it's just my opinion. Okay. So let's move on to the another question, which is about landfilling. As I said before, because of these existing problems with recycling right now, most of municipal solid waste goes to just dumps. Most of these typical landfilling places, deposit site are not really that safe right now. They are not covered with impermeable layer to protect groundwater from leachates and all this toxic stuff that is coming from the waste. Also, there is no control of scavenging. There are some people who try to go to these places to collect for recyclables, plastic mainly. So they are actually it's really risky for them. They could damage their health really bad. But the positive thing, we have some good news that we have landfill that is situated in capital city Nur Sultan, and it's new and it was designed and now it is operating according to the strict regulations of European Union. So I think it's also a good start. Here we have, let's move on to waste that is generated from the economy sectors. As I said before, it's different kind of sectors. As I said, because Kazakhstan is so rich in different kind of mineral resources, you could imagine that it's just all kinds of metallurgy and chemical production is thriving here. That is why, yeah, we have to deal somehow with all this kind of waste. But here, almost same picture as with municipal solid waste. They are disposed of to dumps. Usually, these dumps do not comply with the modern requirements. Yeah, so, but there is one exception with oil and gas sector, and I will explain later why it is a good exception. So, as I said before, we're going to talk about radioactive waste separately. And here I have some interesting facts about Kazakhstan and uranium. So, nobody, maybe not all people know that Kazakhstan is the world's largest producer of uranium, just imagine. And you could imagine that this kind of production accumulates a lot of radioactive waste. Usually it is collected, right now it is collected and sent to storage facility, which is located in Semey, which is a city in the east part of Kazakhstan. Right now, government is still has not made its decision to what they are going to do with all these waste. Right now, it's still we're still deciding. Maybe for older people, you can know something about Semey, which was formerly called Semipalatinsk. Maybe you could remember that during Soviet Union times, there was a nuclear weapon testing site that was fortunately closed when we became independent in 1991. Also one fact about Kazakhstan, when Soviet Union broke down, we inherited like lots of nuclear weapons because it was kept in our territory. We could be actually the fourth largest, we could have the fourth largest nuclear arsenal. Just imagine, it's crazy actually. And but Kazakhstan voluntarily gave up everything. They decided to remove all the nuclear weapons from its territory and just to destroy it. Okay. So right now, let's move to some specific waste streams. Okay, before I was pointing out that we have some problems with deficit, with a shortage of raw materials for recycling, for existing recycling plants in Kazakhstan. One of the reasons why it is happening, except for economical reason, because we have in our country extensive system of buyout points operated by the private sector. So you could see people like maybe they are homeless, but on the streets they collect paper, cardboards, some plastics, metals, and they are doing it for reason. They are collecting it and bringing to these buyout points that can give money right away by its weight of the stuff that you collected. You could think, yeah, this is like a win-win situation for both sides, for homeless people and for we have something to recycle. But unfortunately, this buyout private sector, they collect all the valuable recyclables and export it to Russian Federation and Chinese Republic. So this could be a reason why we're having a shortage of raw materials for recycling right now. So I think here, of course, it's not for me to decide, but right now I think that government should do some kind of decisions to balance the situation. Okay, so this is okay. The good point of some recycling trend is that we have end-of-life vehicle recycling plant that was built just recently in 2017. It was a part of EPR program that I'm going to discuss later. So people that have like broken, not working old cars and other vehicles, they actually can benefit from this situation. They can collect their cars and send it for recycling, and it is financially rewarded. They could have around $500 US, or if they are going to buy a new car, they're going to have a certificate which is worth of $1,000 US. I think it's just not a bad deal at all. So let's stop for some positive practice and trends that have started in our country. First of all, as I mentioned before, we have some financial reward for recycling. Of course, it shouldn't work like that. People should not do recycling, sorting for money. They should do it for their own future and health. But for beginning, I think it's not bad at all. Also, as I said before, one exception of waste that is generated from economy sector is oil and gas production sector, because we have a lot of foreign companies that have really a modern solution for waste management. They're setting an example for local companies, and they're trying to keep up with the good standard, with the good practice. So all the reports, even from United Nations organizations like United Nations, says that oil and gas extraction sector actually, waste management in this sector actually is not bad at all. Next point is that the import of radioactive waste was forbidden in our country by legislation for storage and disposal. At the beginning of independence, some countries approached to Kazakhstan. I guess the reason is because our territory is so big that they could pay us money, and they could save, that countries could save to us for disposal their radioactive waste. And I think government was really thinking about that, but local people's reaction was really negative, so they decided to ban this question. And I think it is good because we have already our own radioactive waste, and government still has not decided what to do with that. They just store and collect it. So yes, and also Kazakhstan started to participate in different kind of international conventions, which is a good practice. Also, there is a clean taxi service that just started recently. They work only in capital city, and what we do, we can come to your house for free and collect all your old not working electrical appliances and send it for recycling. Unfortunately, not all people know about that, even people who live in capital city Nur Sultan. But I think it's a good start as well. Also, some scientists from university, they started to do some research to help to find effective and optimal ways to recycle stuff. So you can see this is a piece of scientific article from researchers from Nazarbayev University, and they try to use some software that can help to optimize recycling process and to make more benefit from that, because not all people could know that. Yeah, we call it recycling, right, when we sort our stuff and so on, but there are different ways and methods of recycling. You could like make new stuff from your recycled materials, or you could actually extract energy from that. So this kind of, I think, research will help with decision making. Also, here are some information about the new program that was launched just recently in Kazakhstan. It is called EPR, which stands for Extended Producer Responsibility. According to this program, any enterprise that works in Kazakhstan, they should organize their own collection and recycling scheme, or they should export its products, or otherwise they need to pay some recycling fees to the government. Before, it worked only for vehicles, tires, accumulators, and oils, and just a couple of years before, they started to apply this scheme to packaging and electrical and electronic products. Actually, this old vehicle recycling plant and clean taxi service was initiated because of this program. So I think this kind of will help with not easy situation with waste management in Kazakhstan. Okay, so let's draw some conclusions from all that we have heard today and discussed. Well, first of all, yeah, of course, everybody can say that waste management in Kazakhstan is just in its really initial first steps. Second of all, I cannot deny that there is a problem here in waste management system. The problem is very complex. It is characterized by unbalanced development. Governments are starting to pay attention to recycling and sorting, but they kind of forgot a little bit about the landfills and deposit sites that do not comply with modern regulations. Another thing, maybe foreign people could think, yeah, the situation is bad because maybe you didn't make a proper decision with legislation. But actually, according to reports from United Nations, that made an overview about ecology and waste management in Kazakhstan, legislation on waste management follows all the modern approach. Actually, on paper, everything is perfect, but daily practice is still based on the old Soviet Union approach, and we need to change it. Okay, I think I'm done here. Thank you for your attention, for your time. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer.
So we actually have two questions in the chat. So the first one is 3:20 p.m. So you can check.
Okay, first question that I can see on chat: what should be done next to improve the existing situation? I think this should be all steps should come from both sides, from us, from population of Kazakhstan. Try to use less, to recycle more, and so on. I know that, yeah, modern experts are saying that recycling is not an option because we have already exited all the levels of garbages on the planet, and recycling is not an option. You just need to try to consume less, buy less products, throw away less. There is trends nowadays in Western countries with composting your food waste, creating some good stuff for your gardens and so on. Yeah, we should, so of course, we should start with education, starting from, I think, from kindergarten. We should include some ecological education, even for small children. They should understand that all these wastes is directly influence our health, and nobody is an exception. Another thing, I think government should do some kind of supporting programs for these plants that are trying to recycle, because we're having like, we have these plants, but they're not working for full capacity for that reasons that I mentioned in my presentation. So I think government should decide something. If that would be me, I would try to maybe minimize the amount of exported recyclable values to China and to Russian Federation, so we could have our own raw material. But yeah, it should come from both sides, from government and from just regular people. Okay. What are the current executive orders on waste management? Yes, I tried to actually look for this information, and they said before, if somebody would think, yeah, probably Kazakhstan just legislation is not fully covered questions of waste management. Actually, it is not true, because we have our environmental code, which is almost like every year they have some corrections and new expectation and demands on this code. It is like, as United Nations experts say, it's perfectly fine with our legislation. Another trends that we just started, Kazakhstan are entering all these kind of modern Western conventions about radioactive waste, about other production waste as well. And here, this Western organization, they are complaining that Kazakhstan government failed to send to reply for the request of these conventions. And I think it's also some questions to think for government. Even now, I have read that right now Kazakhstan is trying to enter the Minamata conventions. It's Japanese, it's based in Japan, and it's about waste management of mercury-related waste. So on paper, as I said, on legislation, everything is perfect. We just need to follow everything. Okay. Another question: what are common barriers to implementing waste diversion programs? Yeah. As I said before, common barriers are existing because, first of all, we should the question of waste generation. Kazakhstan is not fully 100% covers this question. Like only 70% of all the waste, municipal solid waste, could be collected by existing collecting system. And people who live in rural areas, they have to deal with their own waste just by themselves. This is the problem here. I think this is this could be a barrier. Also, existing economic problems that government is kind of are not paying enough attention for existing recycling plants. They are not helping them to do something with their deficit of raw materials and so on. Okay, any other questions? Mm-hmm. Okay, George, are we done here? Because you said that you want to ask some questions. Okay, thank you very much for your time. I hope it was informative. I hope you learned something new. I just want to encourage every citizen of Kazakhstan that we have rights to know what is going on in our country. And actually, each of us have some power to decide what to do with our future. Хорошо, спасибо большое за ваше время и внимание. Надеюсь, что вам понравилось. До свидания. Спасибо за поддержку.